Hello there, thanks a lot for coming by PosterCentral.com's video blog today. I'm Pete Howard, and boy, Bob Dylan, from the absolute peak of his solo acoustic career, end of summer 1964, and at a high school no less, in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Boy, what a great piece of vintage cardboard measuring approximately 15 by 20 inches with, like a half an inch give or take on either side. Boy, and if you like photographs on your vintage concert posters instead of just words and text, does this one fill the bill? More than half of the real estate on this concert poster is this photo of Bob. And what a great one too. You've got his, acoustic guitar, his harmonica with its holder and everything, and his Bobness. Boy, just really, really a nice picture making for a great poster. Now, if this thing looks familiar to you, but you're thinking, well, I've never seen anything from Ann Arbor, Michigan before, that's because this was sort of a basic template, if you will, if not quite a tour blank, used by Dylan's, management and booking company for a couple of years back then in 63 and 64. And it made its debut actually with a very important concert, April of 1963, his first major concert at New York City's Town Hall. And even though I've blogged the handbill from that, I'll show you again just an image of the handbill. This was both a paper handbill and a cardboard concert poster. And as you can see in the lower right there, they did devote a lot of the white space to quotes from the press because Dylan was such still an unknown entity to the world that, they have lots of press quotes to get people to buy tickets. But I'll tell you, Dylan had really come a long way in this year and a half up to here, September of 1964. Heavens, he had, set 2 Newport folk festivals on fire. He had debuted, or he was debuting, Mr. Tambourine Man, and Chimes of Freedom, and It's All Right Ma, I'm Only Bleeding, later to be quoted by presidents. And he was hanging out with the world's biggest entertainment phenomenon, the Beatles. That's right. He had turned them on to pot, that famous story, only 3 weeks earlier before this show in New York after their first Forest Hills concert. And the following night after the show, Sunday night, September 20th, Bob was back in New York and attending their Paramount Theater charity show and hanging out again with them backstage. So, boy, this was quite, as I said, a lot happened to Dylan in the year and a half span there. So, boy, I just love this font, though. I think it's my favorite of his whole career, used for Bob Dylan there. Isn't that nice? That's just really, really attractive. I don't know what you call it, but it's great. And then, as you can see, you do have Saturday, September 19th, 8:30 p.m. on there. Ann Arbor High School. How fun. Tickets, main floor, $3.75 and $2.75. And the balcony, $2.75 and $1.75. Interestingly, have you noticed the typo on there? Before the $1.75, instead of a dollar sign, there's accidentally an ampersand, which, I just love the charming quaintness of old mistakes in print shops and everything. It's so much better, or has a better feel to it than the computer-generated stuff of today. Then, as you can see, it does say mail orders and advance ticket orders. Make checks payable to, the Ann Arbor Folk and Jazz Society with their address. And then tickets on sale beginning September 7th at, well, that tells us right there this thing was probably hanging around town in late August. And then it says the Disc Shop and Discount Records. Boy, back when record stores were the main sellers of concert tickets, you just gotta love it. Wow. Ann Arbor, Michigan. What's interesting is Dylan had quite a little bit of a history with Ann Arbor, Michigan, which is surprising because it was, 600 miles to the east. But the earliest known concert poster from Bob Dylan's career actually happens to be from Ann Arbor, Michigan. And here's a picture of one. This is the earliest concert poster with Bob's name on it, April of 1962, right around the release of his first album, and it does say the University of Michigan Folk Festival in Ann Arbor. Wow. And Dylan was so new that, as you can see down there in the corner, he was actually misspelled Dillon. Wow. But I'm going to do a full and separate blog on this concert poster shortly. But returning to this really lovely template for Bob, which, I guess it actually kind of was a tour blank of sorts. I've got a picture to show you of this concert poster layout with only the information localized, information changing both before and after this very show. From Washington, D.C., interestingly, they chose to include very sparse information on there, but again, December of 63. And then a picture of one from October of 64, a month after Ann Arbor, And it's the same template, as you can see, the tour blank, with a splash of red used on there. So that's really a nice touch. And this picture's much better, so you can make out much more of it. But you know something? If you're thinking, boy, that red splash really adds a nice touch, you should see what they did 1 month after this, in November of 1964 in Buffalo, New York. Holy cats, look at this. Get a load of this. Wow. Kleinhans Music Hall in Buffalo, New York. Just, November of 64. Voila, right? Take a look at that. Bright red Bob Dylan and lots of red print scattered, down below and everything. That's really, Kleinhans always had a really nice art director or art department, though, because they produced great concert posters. So they took this template and made it their own, obviously, including putting that big stripe across the middle with the date and time. And they reduced Bob's photo a little bit from over 50% to under 50%. But you know something? This concert poster, this is a picture, a rendition, but Buffalo, New York, Dylan 64 was the very first video blog I ever recorded and posted back in March of 2011. So you can go see it, and I talk about that poster in quite a bit of detail. But today, it's about Ann Arbor in the end of summer of 1964, and just a really sweet Bob poster, vintage all the way, and harkening back to a great time before he went electric, which was also great, so what are you going to do? Thanks a lot for dropping by, and have a good day. Bye-bye.